All right, let's move on to our next subject. Today we're going to be talking about Alex Smith. Alex Smith won Comeback Player of the Year in 2020 after a horrific leg break. And apparently, according to all news reports, almost dying several times. He almost had his leg amputated. The fact that the guy came back at all was a miracle. And the fact that he came back to play at the level that he did, which I thought was above average. He was above the norm. I thought he played significantly better than I thought he was going to. And I think that a lot of that comes down to the fact that Alex Smith, while not the elite athlete that he used to be, and a lot of people forget that Alex Smith was an elite athlete at one point, a great scrambler, strong body, good arm. Alex Smith has the head for the game, and that's really what it comes down to. So where will Alex Smith play next? I have a prediction that Alex Smith is going to go to Jacksonville. Urban Meyer was Alex Smith's coach in college at Utah, I believe, if memory serves me correct. Yes. Urban Meyer just took over for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Alex Smith was the guy who gets a lot of credit for mentoring and really taking the time to mentor Patrick Mahomes and give him the time that he needed to sit and learn the game, which allowed Patrick Mahomes to be able to come into the game and really be the star that he was. He wasn't thrust into it with all this pressure on him. Well, Jacksonville happens to have the number 1 overall pick, which everyone assumes they're going to use to draft Trevor Lawrence. If they do that, if they do take Trevor Lawrence, I can see no better scenario than Alex Smith coming in and playing the exact same role in Jacksonville with his old college head coach in an offensive terminology that he probably still remembers some of, goes in and plays that role for Trevor Lawrence. I can see that happening. I don't know for sure because I don't know. Maybe Alex Smith might decide that I've done enough and I'm going to retire. But if the guy wants to play, Jacksonville's got the cap space to pay him somewhere in the neighborhood of $5-6 million to come in and be that guy. And then he comes in and it's like, look, you have this job. And I think Alex Smith, knowing the kind of guy that I think I know he is, would come in and revel in it and say, hey, look, it's my team for a year. I'm going to play my ass off. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to teach this kid. And part of my legacy is going to be that I helped bring Patrick Mahomes into this world, and I helped bring Trevor Lawrence into this world. And while I was never that guy, I could be this guy. And that could be my legacy as I move forward. That's my opinion of where I think Alex Smith is going to go. What about you?
Yeah, what a way to build a resume as a potential head coach in the future. So let's not forget that he was also the starter before Jimmy Garoppolo brought the 49ers to the Super Bowl. So what a great resume if it does happen. So Alex Smith, actually, so that Jacksonville thing does make a lot of sense. So he becomes a bridge quarterback once again. He becomes that master to that young quarterback who still has a lot to learn in the NFL. And he seems like to be good at that position. So does make sense for Jacksonville to bring him in and have him start for the first half of the season 2021. And his deal actually is not as bad as compared to other starting quarterbacks. He's just $23.3 million against the cap next season, and that's nothing to Jacksonville's enormous cap space. So if they absorb that contract and have him as a mentor to Trevor Lawrence, not mentioning again that he was Urban Meyer's ward in college, then I see a lot of boxes being ticked with him in Jacksonville. But here's another destination for him, though.
Hang on, just real quick, so we're clear. I don't see Washington being able to trade the contract. Yes, unless they give trade draft capital along with it. Unless it's the Jared Goff type of deal where it's like, look, you can also get some picks along with it, which I also don't see Washington doing. So I'm looking at this. My conversation comes from a cut and sign standpoint. I don't think he's a $23 million quarterback. So I just wanted to say that really quick because I had said $6 million earlier. Then you're saying his cap is 23. I'm aware of the fact that he's getting paid more this year. I just don't think he's going to live out that contract. I think they're going to cut him this year. If there's a cap hit, they'll just absorb it. But Washington doesn't want $23 million on their books this year. I just wanted to get that in there real quick. I'm sorry. Where do you think he ends up?
Yeah. So you're right about that. There have been news items wherein it has been mentioned that Washington will likely cut Alex Smith. So that would definitely diminish his value next season. So one more destination I see for Alex Smith, and it's also partly because of a young quarterback who hasn't panned out, actually. He could go to the Denver Broncos, actually, be a bridge quarterback. So apparently there has been frustrations for Drew Lock already in the organization that they think that he's not the quarterback for the future for the Broncos. So while they are searching for that new guy, Alex Smith can come in, lead those talented young receivers like the Jerry Judys, and be their quarterback for a season or two until they get their quarterback of the future. So it's also a good scenario for the Broncos because they already have the pieces in place, and having a solid veteran quarterback and Alex Smith can help them along the way.
Yeah, that's actually not a bad choice. I looked it up, by the way. If they cut Alex Smith this year, it's a cap savings of $14.7 million this year, and if they cut him for next year, the cap savings is $21 million. There would still be like $8.6 million in caps. I'm sorry, the dead cap money this year, 4.3 next year. But if the Redskins can save almost $15 million off their cap, I'm just surprised they haven't cut him yet already. I don't think there's any way in the world he stays.
Yeah, indeed. Especially that they want Kyle Allen back, and Kyle Allen is a Ron Rivera guy, and then they just signed Tyler Heineke to that bit of a massive contract for a young quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
So those might be their two quarterbacks coming into the season.
All right, so I'm thinking it's going to be Jacksonville. I'm thinking he's going to Florida for Jacksonville, and you think he's going to go out west and play in Denver. I don't see Denver as a bad choice, though, before we get away from that. Just because if you really believe in Drew Lock and you think Lock could be the guy, and maybe he just needs someone around to kind of show him the ropes. Again, Alex Smith is that guy. Alex Smith is the guy who can come in, and if Lock doesn't have terrible habits and just needs maybe like a little maturity kick in the butt, Alex Smith is that guy. You can't work with a guy like that and not be able to fully comprehend the struggles that this guy went through just to play football again. And Alex Smith, so we're clear, is rich. Like, he doesn't need to play football. He's not like you or I, where we need to get better so we can go back to work. Alex Smith is a rich man. He's probably worth in excess of $100 million. So I don't see a reason that he needed to go back. The fact that he went back should be applauded. And I think anybody that works around him is going to get a rub from that. And I think they'll have a little more respect for the actual game.